So this is part 3 of lecture 4. This part will be short. What I want to do is, in this part, is look at the data on long-term forward rates. What is the forward rate between year 9 and year 10, between year 19 and year 20, and year 29 and year 30? And we see that those forward rates back in the early 1980s were very high, and then they declined more recently to quite low levels. So let's remember, under the expectations hypothesis of the term structure, these forward rates are equal to our expectation of where the one period interest rate is going to be in 9 years, 19 years, and 29 years. And plus a constant, that constant D, so maybe the expectation would be shifted up and down by a constant, but according to the expectations hypothesis, that constant didn't change from here to here. So look at that picture. Now let's think about that hypothesis. So this is the equation that I was just describing. The forward rate of maturity 9, 19, or 20, 10, 20, or 30 is our expectation of where the short-term interest rate will be in 9 years from now, 19 years from now, or 29 years from now, minus a constant. And we can ask the question, way back in 1981, did investors really think that the 1-year interest rate was still going to be up near 15%, 9 years ahead, 19 years ahead, or 29 years ahead? Did they really think that? And if you go way down here, this is actually from last year, so you'll be updating the data and you can ask the question looking at the new data. Did investors really think that the 1-year yield would be 3% in 10 years, 20 years, or I should say 9 years, 19 years, or 29 years? This seems to suggest, if we use the expectations hypothesis of the term structure, that investors are taking like essentially whatever is the short-term interest rate now, or something like the short-term interest rate, and just saying that's the way interest rates are going to be way out into the distant future. And you'd have to ask, what is it that changed that made their long-term forecast change so much? So we want to think about why that's a puzzle. If you thought that interest rates were stationary, that they fluctuated around a constant mean, you'd be inclined to think, if I asked you, where do you think interest rates will be in 30 years? The best guess will be they probably will go back to their mean. Because information today, whatever information you have today, that'll probably wear off in 30 years. Who knows what the world is going to be like in 30 years and how that's going to be related to where we are today. So if you're making forecasts based on an assessment that interest rates are stationary, then these forward rates are very much a puzzle, because this is saying, no, I don't think they're stationary. I think wherever the short-term interest rate is now, that's where it's going to be in 30 years. That's more like what's called a random walk forecast. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because this is going to be a focus of what we do in homework 1.